The topic of my dissertation is protean living, adapting to the climate crisis, a case for Devbag. In my dissertation, I look at the climate crisis and its impact on coastal villages and adaptation to these new changes, particularly the role design will play in it. India has about 7,500 kilometers of coastline that is vulnerable to seawater ingression, loss of land, life, property, and livelihood. The increasing frequency of cyclones in the Arabian Sea is a grave cause of concern. There are many villages that line the coast that are very vulnerable to this. These villages are on the front lines of this crisis. They face challenges of surviving and developing within ever changing parameters set by a new normal. To understand and mitigate the impacts of the climate crisis, I have taken the case of a small peninsular village, Devbag, in Maharashtra, which is representative of so many villages that line the coastline. Devbag is situated on a 3.5-kilometer long extended piece of land that projects from Tarkarli. As you can see, to its east is the Karli River, and to its west is the Arabian Sea. Devbag was originally a fishing village, which in the last decade or so has turned its economic base towards tourism. The village is at an approximate elevation of 5 meters above the mean sea level. This means that it is very susceptible to the rising sea levels. Along with that, Devbag has also seen a steep increase in the number of environmental events and the destruction that ensues. To begin my analysis, I mapped out the rising sea levels as per the IPCC Special Report 6 for a warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius. I looked at all the important landmarks and public buildings in the village and their overall location to understand the structural and mobility spine. Apart from the land loss, seawater ingression also causes an increase in soil salinity, which is detrimental to both the groundwater table and the vegetation that grows in it. Now, taking land loss, salinity, and infrastructure into account, I then generated a vulnerability mapping for the village, which has helped me identify the potential sites for intervention. Now, this what we have to understand is that this breakdown is a process whose outcome is unknown. It is unlikely that we'll be able to limit the warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. I'm therefore designing for a situation with no precedent. Adaptation to it, therefore, has to be polyvalent. So, the first questions that plagued me were of durability and functionality of structures, especially what purpose they would serve and how they would react. Taking cues from the village itself, I realized that these people have been living with water for centuries, and that is a philosophy that could be easily adaptable. The proposal therefore looks at the idea of protean living, which in simple words means ever changing. It incorporates the ideas of regenerative systems, pliability of structures, and amphibious buildings to propose a design that modifies and enhances existing public infrastructure in the village to make it resilient and for it to act as a shelter when disaster strikes and to function as a refuge when time comes for migration. And since I'm looking at anticipatory design strategies rather than reactive design strategies, I look at two aspects of resiliency. One is the overall resiliency, and the other is local resiliency. The proposal has two aspects. First, I propose a wetland barrier across the entire western edge of the village. The second part is the division of the village into three parts of 10 to 10 to 12 minutes of walking distance from the previously identified public structures. These public structures are situated at the highest ground in that region and will act as evacuation points. In part A, I propose a community center near Vithal Mandir. In part B, I propose a Gram Panchayat and another primary school. And in part C, I propose a tourist center on a vacant piece of government land. Now, coming to part A is a community center that is proposed near the Vithal Mandir. At present, there's an under construction community center adjacent to the Vithal Mandir. I propose modifications to this center. I believe that the new center with the temple and a four-room kitchen will be very efficient as a refuge and an evacuation point. In my design, I've utilized the existing plinth. Now, since the existing plinth is very high, I used the underlying volume to fit a rainwater harvesting tank in it. After extending the temple plinth, part of the structure was rotated slightly in order to minimize the surface area subjected to high wind pressures. I've extended the plinth on the side of the river so that it creates a physical connection and the existing shop is integrated into the new structure. The bamboo steps will act as both a seating and a connector to the river edge, and an amphibious platform that serves as a performance space and a floating device during surges is also added. The jetty is amphibious in order to rise and fall with the tides of the river. And there's an EcoSan public toilet connected to the platform, which can be utilized by both the users of the jetty and that of the community center. The superstructure is made out of bamboo and is lighter than a traditional structure. It supports and anchors the aerodynamic roof, which has been designed to sustain high pressure winds. The overall planning of the area, as you can see, um the space is quite flexible and accommodating of any function that is to be carried out. The entrance opens onto a temple, and the height of the overall structure is kept shorter than that of the mandir. Um, so, this is a visualization of the functionality of the structure at different times in the future. And this is how the structure interacts with with water. These are some of the working details and self-sufficiency details. And I also performed the structural analysis on the roof, which in order to understand whether it would sustain high pressure situations. Now, coming to part B. Part B is an intervention at the highest point in the mid village. I propose to rebuild a new polyvalent Gram Panchayat instead of the existing one. The Gram Panchayat also functions together with a five-room school to act as a refuge and as an evacuation point. The Gram Panchayat is constructed on 8 underground rainwater harvesting tanks, and the finished plinth is about 13 meters above the mean sea level. Now, all of this has been done by keeping in mind the guidelines for storm surges. The zoning is done by using the shrine that exists at the core, uh, and the structures are made to correspond to it, as well as they've been aligned in the direction of the prominent winds. The area of the previous medical center was grossly insufficient, so that has been increased, and the medical now opens into a buffer area which can be used as a waiting area or a space to host medical camps or as an additional holding space during times of refuge. There's a depression that is created between the two buildings of the community hall and the Gram Panchayat office. The depression functions as a water retention area in monsoons and as a gathering space otherwise. So this is how the volumes look. And the community center itself is a multifunctional space that can be broken into different spaces, or it can function as one continuous space. Now, again, this has been done in order to maximize the area of utilization during times of relief. The structure is designed to function in a way where it retreats from the storm and then it blooms in the sun. Uh, these are again some working details for pliability of the structure. And for the overall aspect around the complex, the process of phytoremediation can be used where grass and shrub of variety that extract salt from the soil can be used to improve groundwater table over the years. Again, this is a view of the medical center in the Talati, and these are the bin analysis models for the Gram Panchayat. Now, coming to Part C. Part C is a tourist center that is located at Mobar. This is a vacant piece of government land that is currently being used for tourist parking, but it has great potential to be turned into a more formalized space. So these are actually two different structures. The one of the structures is deeply rooted into the ground and is made out of laterite, and the other is amphibious and floating. The orientation of the building is with respect to the prominent winds, and there's a clear pathway uh, from the road towards the water. The passage to the jetty also doubles as a viewing deck. Again, these are some details for to explain how the structures will rise and fall. And these are some of the views of how it would look. Now, coming to the overall resiliency, the overall resiliency looks at a 15-meter wide mangrove plantation. In order to not take away from the water, a 6-meter wide walkway is constructed on the outer edges. Access to this walkway is at 500-meter intervals from the spinal road. The walkway is constructed in treated bamboo and timber and will be amphibious in nature. This means that it will rise and fall with the tidal frequency of the sea. I envision it to be used as a promenade and as a boat anchoring system. And the mangrove stretch is a main element of the proposal. The wetland is deeply rooted in the idea of regenerative systems, which means that not only will they react to the challenges uh, of these changes in the environment, but they will also try to minimize it. So it will function as a carbon sequestration system and absorb carbon. It will promote coral growth and provide for a habitat for fishes, for fish, along with improving water quality. And this in turn will promote both the economic and ecological resiliency of the village. All in all, I would like to conclude by saying that the climate crisis is going to be the greatest challenge of our generation. It will exacerbate existing inequalities and create new ones. In order for us to combat and overcome the crisis, we need to look at inclusive design strategies that will penetrate through strata and provide a fair chance at survival to all. Thank you.